Hi, I'm Jason Brockway from Design and Ink. I'm located here in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is my DecoNetwork success story. I went to ASU for software engineering, and at the time it was '08 and there was no software engineering jobs coming out of school. So while I was there, I was like really into music. I played guitar in a band, and I thought that we could make a little bit of extra money. I reached out to some of the record labels and brought their merchandise in. I buy it like wholesale and then sold it online. At the time, there wasn't anyone really doing it, so we set up a website where people can go and buy touring band merch online, and I'd pack it and ship it out of my house. And like '09 came around, and I saw some like equipment for sale, and I'm like, I wonder if I could do this myself. Being super naive, I took money out of our savings account. My wife was like, if you're sure about it, let's try it. And I took like $1,200 out of our savings account and bought a really old, it was called a Phoenix 4-color 4-station manual press, and got that and a dryer, and was trying to run that out of my house for a while, thinking, I can run this band stuff. So I contacted the labels I was already buying this stuff through. I'm like, hey, I want to start printing your stuff. And they're like, no, you're not. There's licensing involved, and there's all these like hoops you had to jump through that I was completely oblivious to. So I started like what everyone else did, was like reaching out to friends and family, and Craigslist and stuff like that at the time was big, selling our services, which was just myself and another friend that was helping me out. But you can only do so much out of your house and garage. Once we started actually getting some traction and success, we had customers coming over at midnight and like 10 o'clock, and being in a house that's not the best thing ever to have. So we started looking for space in 2010 and ended up in this complex, just on the smaller side. There's like a warehouse behind here where we originally started, and it was like 900 square feet. And we started there. We had 2 manuals. We bought in finally a what do we get? An M&R Chameleon. So we got like an 8.8, and that really got us into a little bit better quality equipment, and started turning a little bit more product, and eventually we ended up getting where we are now with the automatic press and that sort of thing. We added embroidery like just recently, honestly. It was like, I want to say like 5 years ago. So just before COVID, we added our first 4-head machine, and we saw how much more that added to our service offering, that we're like, man, we should add another one. So we added the second 4-head recently, like probably 2 years ago, and then another single head. So we're going full force with embroidery now, as well as screen printing. They really complement each other hand in hand, and that's kind of where it all started. It started with a $1,200 loan from my savings, and here we are now. It's quite the difference. There is a ton of jobs to go around. There's probably 6 or 7 shops just in this like 1 square mile area that we're in, and probably 200 to 300 in the state of Arizona. And we have made pretty good relationships with some of our competitors. You call them competitors, but at the end of the day, if our film printer goes down or we need some ink or emulsion, we call them up. And we're able to bounce ideas off of each other, and there's so much work to go around. I don't know that I've only seen maybe a handful of times where someone else's work has come through here and we've had to quote it. So Phoenix is a growing industry. There's a lot of big companies moving here, their headquarters and stuff. So there's plenty of work to go around, and we thrive off the competition, to be honest with you. We've always found that really standing behind your product has made a huge difference for us. We've been doing this for 15 years now, and if there's ever an issue, we make sure we take care of it. We're on top of from start to finish, kind of guiding their experience with directing them to certain blanks and garments that might work specific to their industry or sector that not going to shrink on them. They're, some guys are outside, so they're like something with UV protection or, whatever it might be, making sure that, the design is right for the garment, that the service that they provide also goes hand in hand with what we're providing them as well. And we like to make sure that we're utilizing as much technology as possible now, because you need to get it to market as soon as possible. They're not, the days of waiting 3 weeks are not an option anymore. Everyone's in that Amazon era where, you got to get the product out quick. And we found that, having a software specific for that like Deco is something that has really made that streamlined for us, and we can get to market a lot quicker on certain items. So we've tried several softwares, and every time we've tried something, there was some pain point that, couldn't quite make our lives as easy as we wanted it to. We started with DecoNetwork in 2019, and some of the features right away really sold us. The design element part of it, where we didn't need the ability to have a full-time graphic designer, so anyone can take a PDF or AI file, drop it in, and make a mock-up within 30 seconds. So that was a huge selling point for us. We didn't have a full-time graphic designer at the time, so as long as we had vector art, we were able to produce those proofs super streamlined, and it sent directly to the customer. They could see that. The other part that really set DecoNetwork apart for us was the PO, the purchasing portion, with the API integrations with Sanmar and SNS. At the end of the day, my ordering is maybe 15 minutes. So I'm able to push all orders that came through that day out to Sanmar, SNS, Alpha Broder, and it's easy. It comes in. The POs are assigned to each job, so you know exactly what's in that box, and it's awesome. The stores, we really hit hard probably a year ago. We found that certain customers were utilizing our services for their employees. So a new hire would come on, and they'd reach out to us. We'd send them the estimate or invoice, and then they would approve it and go through all the hoops with that. Whereas now we're utilizing the stores more of an ordering portal for them. So whenever they have a new employee, or they have a new team event, we'll build the store specific to that customer, and they can log in, order their own items, set the shipping date needed, and it's completely off of their hands as well as ours. It just, as soon as they press approve or pay, it goes directly into our queue, and we're ready to roll on it. So we are in still growth mode. We would like to take more of a uniform approach to doing more embroidery work, doing more store usage on DecoNetwork. And as far as screen printing goes, we're kind of at a point. We're at a good point there where we feel like any more growth, and we would definitely have to double our space. So we're really focusing on the embroidery growth and automations to get faster and turn product quicker. Those are big steps this next couple years.